Welcome to Cricket World TV. Time for another Ashes hotspot with me, John Pennington, in Grantham, not too far away for the venue for the fourth test in Trent Bridge in Nottingham. Rob's a little further afield this week. He's followed the example of the England team, if you like. They were in Spain before the series got underway. Rob's there right now. Hello, Rob.
Hi, John.
And I trust you're doing okay there in the sun.
Yes, very nice weather, very relaxing to be here, definitely.
Good stuff. Well, we thought we'd interrupt your holiday to look ahead to the fourth Ashes test in Trent Bridge. And a lot of the talk around the build-up to this game is about the pitch. I mean, a lot of people expecting it to be quite lively. What are your thoughts on this looking ahead?
Well, I think all reports are that there's going to be a bit more grass on the pitch than there was certainly for the test match last year against India. Whether the groundsman cuts the pitch again before the test match, we'll have to see. But there's definitely going to be some grass on there. And I think that's the way England have realised that they've got the best chance to beat Australia when the ball moves around. I think also traditionally Trent Bridge has swung quite a bit, although Stuart Broad, interestingly, says that that's perhaps died down a bit since they've built a couple of new stands there. So I think the pitch will do a bit. I think England will be hoping it does so, and I think the Australians will be hoping to see not too much grass on there. But obviously, we'll have to.
Yeah, Luke, I think Rob's still with us there. Yeah, I mean, obviously, we haven't seen a test match go 5 days in this series yet, so a bit of life in the pitch will likely possibly similar result once again. In terms of the teams, Rob, we know that obviously England can't call on James Anderson. It does look more and more as if Mark Wood's going to be given the chance to come in and also to take the new ball as well.
Yes, he impressed Otis Gibson, the bowling coach, on the Lions tour to South Africa over the winter. So I think he'll be opening the bowling along with Stuart Broad, obviously, and Stephen Finn coming on first change. So it'll be a big game for Wood, a big test for him. Obviously hasn't opened the bowling in a full international yet, but he seems to me that the sort of character who thrives on the big occasion. And he did that at Cardiff in the first game, and I'm sure England will be hoping that he does the same. So there's also a lot of pressure on Stuart Broad, got to take the mantle over from Anderson. But I think Broad's bowled quite well in the series so far, actually, without perhaps getting the big 5 or 6 wicket haul that he often gets. So a lot of pressure on him. But yeah, Wood, I'm sure England will be able to rely on him to do a good job.
On the other side of that, I suppose Australia will be so keen, won't they, to get after Wood, maybe get after Stephen Finn as well, to try and put England under pressure, the sort of pressure that maybe they can't exert on Jimmy Anderson.
Yes, that's right. I mean, I think part of Anderson's skill really is the fact that he very rarely goes for a lot of runs, and he's obviously an attacking bowler as well, and that's quite a combination when he gets it right. So I think at Lord's, England didn't bowl particularly disciplined. They gave away quite a few runs, so Australia will be hoping that they can get after them early at Trent Bridge and try and do the same as they did at Lord's. But I think England will rely on a lot of disciplined bowling, preying on the patience of the Australian batsmen, who all like to go after the ball. They're an aggressive side. So yeah, I mean, that'll be a key point in the game, really. And
what about the Australian side? It almost feels like there has to be some changes after the way they were so soundly beaten in the edge batsmen. Do you expect changes in the batting and the bowling?
Well, the bowling certainly, I think, they didn't bowl well in Cardiff. They didn't bowl well in Edgbaston, and Mitchell Starc and Hazelwood haven't really hit the lines and lengths that Michael Clarke would have wanted them to. So there has been call for Peter Siddle, who's obviously very experienced in English conditions, to come in. And one thing he will do is give Clarke a lot of control, and perhaps just enable Mitchell Johnson to be a bit freer in his bowling. And to really be aggressive, knowing that Siddle can tie an end up. So I think that will be the change in the bowling attack, if any. And in the batting, Adam Voges at number 5 hasn't really set the world alight since getting a test century in the West Indies. So I think he'll be the most vulnerable. Sean Marsh, the reserve batsman on tour, has scored 2 centuries already. So I think he'll probably come in with maybe Marsh batting at number 4, which allows Clarke to come to bat slightly down the order at number 5, where he's enjoyed his most success. So I think he averages 50 plus there. So he'll be more comfortable perhaps at number 5, and Marsh might slot in at number 4.
What do you make of the Michael Clarke situation, Rob? Because so many former Australian players will say, if you're captain, you've got to bat up the order. He's sort of admitted, I'm not scoring runs. You know, we've been playing with 10 players, and he's sort of come out today and maybe criticise people for having a go at him for saying that he hasn't got the desire or the hunger. He said, look, it's okay to have a go at my performance, but don't have a go at me for, you know, pretending I haven't got the desire. What do you make of it all?
Well, I think in many ways he's got to say that. He's captain of the Australian Test team. He's not going to come out and say, you know, I am coming to the end, I'm sort of winding down. So in many ways I expected him to say that. Certainly from all reports about the time he's spending in the nets, you know, that's as great as ever. And he has been a class player, but the decline in his form hasn't just been in this series, it's been for the past 2 years. I think he averages 31 since the beginning of 2014. And for a player of his class, that's not good enough. And you know, whether moving up to number 4 has had an impact, I'm not quite sure. And whether moving down to 5, he'll feel more comfortable. I don't really go in for this talk of, oh, if you're the best player, you must bat up the order, you know, to sort of dictate games. I think you need to bat in the position where you can do the best for the team. And, you know, if Clarke feels that he'll be better coming in when the ball's slightly older, not maybe doing so much, then I think, you know, that's the way they should go. He's such an important player for Australia that, you know, they need a contribution from him in this Test match. And, you know, if they feel that he's, you know, better suited at 5, then I don't think that's, you know, a negative from their point of view. And I think, you know, they should do that.
And we'll finish maybe with some predictions, Rob. I mean, I got it completely wrong at Edgbaston, thinking it'd be a rain effect to draw. Done as us in 3 days. But what do you reckon ahead of this one? It's been so tough to predict, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. You know, predicting this series is so hard. I mean, I think perhaps the only thing we could predict is that it's not going to be a draw. With the way that the series has gone so far, none of the games lasting 5 days. So I think if England have had Jimmy Anderson, they would have been very much favourites. But I think it just brings it quite level now. So I think England have got, you know, more players in form, so they'll be favourite. But I think, as we saw in Lords, Australia, after a heavy defeat, are at their most dangerous. So I predict quite a tight game, maybe a cagey game with the series on the line. But I'm going to stick my neck out and go for England, and I'm sure I'll be proved wrong.
Well, we'll see. I'm going to oppose you there, Rob. I'm going to go for an Australia win to bounce back, just as they did at Lords after losing in Cardiff. I think it's so important for them if they can get on top of the England bowling without Jimmy Anderson. I just think that if they get ahead, they'll probably stay ahead. What about 1 or 2 players to watch then to wrap things up?
Well, I think, you know, Ian Bell for England in the last game came into the game under a lot of pressure and scored 2 excellent 50s. And again, I think he took England from a couple of precarious positions really into relative safely. So I think the continued good form, Bell will be important in such an important position as number 3, especially with Adam Lyve not particularly hitting form in the opening spot. So I think he needs to continue his good form for England. And for Australia, I think Mitchell Johnson, you can't really look past him. And I still think after Lords, he's got a bit of a psychological hold over England and spell well, or he takes a couple of wickets, then I think he could get on top of the England batsmen. So Australia will be hoping for a big performance from him. And as always, you know, he's just an X-factor cricketer. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes.
Yeah, I'm going to go slightly the other way from there. I'm going to say David Warner for Australia. I think he's going to cut. It's about time he scored some, I think, first innings runs he could do with under his belt. And I'm going to go Stuart Broad for him. I think he's going to end up, maybe this is the time for him to do a 5-wicket haul, a 6-wicket haul, as you briefly mentioned earlier, to either get England back on track or maybe even put them ahead. So it'll be interesting to see. We've made our predictions. So Rob, that just about wraps it up for us. We'll let you get back to your holiday in Spain. Thank you so much for joining us once again.
Thanks, John.
And thank you so much for watching us here on Cricket World TV.